Hey, welcome to Mom's Kitchen. So today we have a partridge here. Some of you may call it a partridge, but we call it a partridge. And I'm going to show you how I prepare this. We're going to be making partridge nuggets. And my husband has cleaned it, and it's been soaking in this water for a few hours. And basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that there's no little hair stuck to it to begin with, no BBs in it, anything like that. And I'm going to have to pull this bone out and then cut this up. Okay, I'm going to be reaching around the camera, so I'm just going to trust that you can see what I'm doing. With my fingers, I'm just going to start pulling and working that meat off the bone. There is a little bone down here that needs to come out. And then the same on this side. Pull that right out of there. Okay, there's a little bit of blood there. I'm going to rinse it off, get rid of that. Okay, now once I get that first section off the bone, there's now this other section to come off the bone, and I'm going to start pulling at that, working it off. Sometimes these breasts can be blown apart pretty bad by the shotgun, and if it is, just, you know, salvage what you can, rinse it good, keep rinsing it until you get, it'll have like a lot of hairs and stuff in it from all the BBs that have been like pushed through the meat, and you just keep rinsing, and you'll get it clean. Okay, same on the other side. Pulling that right off. Figure about one bird per person. Okay, so when I'm done, I just have this left, okay? That's it. Everything else is gone. And we're going to set that aside to go into the garbage. Now, that's what I have for meat that I picked off. I'm just going to feel through and make sure I don't feel any little bits of bone, because sometimes the shotgun shell will shatter and you'll get just a little bit of bone. Okay. Now I'm going to rinse this really well a couple of times and make sure that it's good and clean. Okay, I guess I didn't have the camera on, but all I did was go through with scissors and cut this into small pieces about this size. And now it's soaking in water while I make the batter. Make sure you're washing your hands good in between. Okay, so for this batter, all I'm going to do is use equal parts of flour and milk. So for one bird, let's use a half a cup. I wasn't planning on doing this video today, but it's kind of one of those things, if you've got the bird and you're going to do the video, you better do it. So if things look a little messy or I seem a little disorganized, that's why. It's been a long day. Okay, so we'll put in half a cup of that flour. We're going to add the milk. Half a cup of milk. Then we'll add 1 egg. Let's do just a little bit of baking powder. About this much on a spoon. And then we're going to want some seasoning salt. Good amount of this. And then we're going to want some pepper. A decent amount of pepper. And we're going to want just a splash of oil. Probably, I'm just using this canola oil from the Dollar Tree. Probably about a tablespoon. Okay, we'll whisk that together. Okay, now I'm going to put this meat, this partridge, right in there. Okay, and that's gonna be stirred in. And as soon as this oil's hot, we'll start frying it. So while we're waiting for that oil to get hot, you might be wondering what I'm making with these partridge nuggets for my husband for supper. And I got some nice potatoes here from Aroostook County that I got off a farmer. Look at these. These are just beautiful. And I'm going to cut these into French fries and fry those to go with it. You can't put these Aroostook County potatoes through a French fry cutter. We've tried in the past and it breaks the cutter first thing. They're such nice, hard, firm potatoes. So I always just cut them by hand. You can hear how nice and crisp they are when I cut through them. I usually figure however many potatoes for fries that a person would normally eat if they were baked. So, like, my husband would eat 2 potatoes normally, so I would normally make him 2 potatoes cut into fries. But tonight I'm making him a little bit extra because I'm not serving another vegetable. He's just going to have this. So I'm going to give him 3 potatoes. So another example, the other night, my husband and Codger and I had homemade fries. So Codger normally eats 2 potatoes. My husband normally eats 2 potatoes. I normally eat 1. So I cut up 5 potatoes for fries. And figuring it that way, I usually have less than 1 serving left over, but I know that nobody's hungry that way, so it works out pretty good. Okay, we'll be back in a minute. Okay, here are the fries all cut up. Okay, the oil is hot and I'm ready to fry these. And I'm just going to get 1 piece of the bird and a teaspoon of that batter and drop it right in. This really helps the meat to go further because the batter gets really puffy and it's very filling. If you did need to stretch this piece of meat over several people, you could do it easier with this batter on it. And back in the days when we didn't have much money and very many groceries, we would stretch a bird over. My husband and I and our son, who was little at the time, I would just make more fries or an extra vegetable or anything just to stretch it. If my husband got a bird, then we had a bird for supper. But ideally, it's nice if each person can have one. Okay, that's it. You might have a little bit of batter left over, but don't try to keep it because you don't want to reuse batter after you've had raw meat in it. Okay. And we're just going to flip them as they brown. And I'll be back in a minute. Okay, we're just checking in here so you can see how they're doing. I'm not wanting to keep the camera on very long because I don't want this grease all over it. Okay, so I have a brown paper bag here. And this is a bag that shopping at the Amish store, they put my groceries in. Now, if you're not comfortable with doing this with COVID-19, then you go ahead and use paper towel. but this is one of the ways that we save money, is we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut up the side of this bag. Okay, and we're going to cut right around the whole bottom. Get that bottom right out of the bag. Cutting right around. Okay. Once you get the whole bottom cut out of that bag, you've got a full sheet. Okay, now I'm going to just rip this up the middle so that I have two pieces. Now I'm going to drain this out on the inside of the bag because the outside of the bag would be germier. So I'm just going to fold this up and I'm going to put it in this cast iron pan, and this will be where I drip the nuggets out on. And that'll work out great, and it's free. It's reusing, recycling. Okay, like I say, if you're not comfortable with that, you don't have to do that. But some people are struggling right now, and these are the old time ways, and they may not have paper towel and things, so you can get by this way. And when you grocery shop, ask them if they can put your groceries in paper. I know some of our local stores, if you ask, they do have paper and they can put your groceries in it. All right, we'll be back in a minute. Okay, how do I know when these are done? Well, if my heat is on number 6 on an electric stove, then when I start to see them very brown on both sides, they're going to be done. Additionally, I'm looking for, do you see that line? Well, that line is the blood that has bled out of the meat and has been cooked. So I know that there's no blood in that piece. So I'm looking for them to be dark and to look that way before I remove them. Here's another example. You can see all the lines. That's what they mean in the recipes when they say fry it until it runs clear. They mean until you get all that blood cooked out. Now, if you're unsure, you can cut them in half and you can look. You can stab them with a meat thermometer and make sure they're up to the right temperature that way. But I don't normally do that. I know by looking at them when they're done. Occasionally, you'll have one like this that's bouncing and it will not stay on the other side. I just flip it over and hold it there for a few minutes until it's brown on that side, because it's usually just one or two that does that. These are just about done. When I put them over on the brown paper bag, I will just cover them lightly with aluminum foil and turn this grease up to number 8 and fry those fries off, and then it'll be ready to serve. All right, I'll see you in a minute. Okay, these are done, and I'm going to be taking them off and draining them over in this paper bag. Okay, let's see how many nuggets we got out of that one bird. That's 3. 6. 9. 12. 15. 18. 19. 21, 24, 2 more. 26 nuggets out of one bird. Look at that. That frying pan is one of the medium-sized cast iron, and she's full. So if you do need to stretch it, you can stretch it. All right. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.